Hey guys, how you doing? This is Freedom Johnson here. I wanted to share this video with you guys. If you guys have watched the YouTube before, thank you so much. Please subscribe to it so you can get the updates every time these videos come fresh off the press. But if you got to this video because of our Instagram last post, the post was clearly a minute me talking about how I lost $41,000 in real estate. And I want to dive in a little bit deeper on this video because it was 41,000 that we lost in a day. If you're watching this in January 2019, this is the last week of January. We lost the 41,000 literally on the 25th of January 2019. And in the 6 weeks, so that's dating back from November, it averages out to about one deal a week we have lost, which is totaled up to $291,000. So just to be clear, I don't want to say this money was in the bank account and went out. It was because of mistakes that we have made. The properties were funded, but did not close because of things that happened. So I want to make sure I'm super clear with you guys. I don't want to make this some video like, hey, how did this big millionaire lose? I am in the journey of making my millions into real estate. I am a new real estate investor and agent, and we have closed many deals before, and we just made some mistakes in the past 6 weeks, and I want to share these mistakes with you guys so that I can tell you guys, being completely transparent and telling you guys, if you're in this game or if you're looking to get into this game, it is not easy. It is very lucrative when you can solve people's problems, but there are always going to be lessons that you learn. So I want to say this is my $291,000 tuition that I am paying to be better at real estate, not so much failures, because obviously with these being big numbers, the average person would quit. But this thing, I mean, it hurt me. It hurt me financially. It hurt me emotionally. I went through like a week of just basically being depressed and counting myself out and doubting myself. But the reason why I want to share this is because I use real estate and I use these videos as just a way to share with people, but also my journal and documenting this process. And I'd be sitting here lying if I said that this was an easy thing, because you got sellers and buyers and emotions involved and people involved. And when things don't happen the way that you anticipate them, they could hurt you, but you got to stay focused, and you got to look at these things as failures are experiences that you never learn from, and lessons are experiences that you learn from. That's a big difference. So a failure is something that you keep going through and you just never learn from it. Excuse me. And a lesson is an experience that you went through and you actually learned from it. So let's just go ahead and call this is my $291,000 lesson that I learned. All right. So as you guys can see, I'm in my little office area and making this video for you guys. Thank you guys for watching again. Subscribe, check in on our YouTube, Freedom Johnson, check in on our Instagram, Freedom Johnson too, and just always get the updates. We got a little bit away from showing you guys a little bit of the real estate. So we're going to jump back into that more on our YouTube channel, on our Instagram. Just always the real estate, the meetings, the appointments, the contracts, the things that we use to help this business grow. We want to show you guys all that, just so you guys can see how much what you may need if you're looking to be in real estate, but also so that sellers know what we're doing as well. So here we go. How I lost $41,000 in real estate in a day and $291,000 in 6 weeks. So I think I said it before, averages out to about a deal a week that we lost dating back to November, and $41,000 2 days ago, if you're watching this in 2019. So here we go. I want to share this experience with you from the beginning to the end on the $41,000 one, and then I'll touch briefly on the $251,000 that we lost, that we didn't make. But I really want to dive into this $41,000 and give you guys 10 lessons not to do. Now, the little back history on me. I'm in a real estate investor in the Texas area and an agent. I have been I want to say since about 2016, the end of the year is when I went to my first meetup. And then I want to say around maybe December is the first time I actually talked to a seller. So I'm really bad at dates, guys. So forgive me for this because I'm not too sure on my dates, but I just want to try to be as transparent as I can with you guys. I believe in July 2016, I went to my first meetup. Someone took me under their wing for about 5 or 6 weeks and wanted to introduce me how to do sub two deals because that's what they were doing. After 5 weeks, I started to see we had some deals on the table that we could have done other things with, or sell the lead to an agent or take it as a wholesale, but the person didn't want to do any of that. So as I started hearing about a thing called podcast, it really piqued my interest and said, hey, I don't have the money to go do a sub two and take over the payments, but I do have the knowledge, I thought, to go wholesale. So that didn't work out. And I want to say in about November of 2016, I met with a hedge fund company. They took me under their wing and showed me how to be a buyer's representative to buy houses for the hedge fund on the MLS. So I want to say in November I did that. December I got my first house under contract, and we didn't close on that house because the hedge fund, not the hedge fund, the broker that I was with didn't want to take a deduction of $2,000 to close the house. So that one didn't close. And then in 2017 is when I got my first wholesale deals. And I purely did that by jumping on the phones and talking to people and following up with people. And we were able to get our first one, I want to say, in March. And we made 10 grand on that deal. That was a great deal. And we split that with a partner. And then we got our next deal, March, April, May, June. I think in like June. And that one was a great deal as well. I think that was like another 8 grand or something like that. Meanwhile, I have no job during this process, and I'm really just out doing this thing by myself. Thank God for my family and my wife, because her income being in the military pays for the bills, and then my deals kind of take us over the top. So now we're into August, I believe, of 2016. By this time, now I'm working with the hedge fund and I'm helping them sell houses. So in 2017, I ended up closing somewhere between 17 deals with this hedge fund. And I'm a part of 17 deals. Some of them I closed myself. Some of them I'm helping other people close their deals. And then in 2018, which is today is January 2019. And so we fast forward to 2018. I want to say around July, I actually go on my own and do this thing. So I didn't want to work with the hedge funds anymore because they had too much control. And if it didn't fit, if it was like a year out of date of their criteria, they wouldn't buy it. So I didn't like that. So I go on my own in July 2018, maybe August 2018. So today is January 2019. So I'm really 7 months out by myself. And I've been able to close some deals. We've been able to close, I think in 2018, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think we closed 7 deals in 2018 by myself. And those deals averaged out between 1,000 and I think the highest one was 8,400. So I'm telling you guys this because if you're a newbie, I relate 100% to you. All right. And so I want to share, here we are in 2019 and going through our 2019 mistakes, what to avoid. All right. So I had a deal in Texas that we had, and this is a deal that I followed up with this person, and they were scared of going to foreclosure, so we were able to stop this house, get it under contract, and I get it under contract for about 80 grand. And the next day I start to blast it out to my buyers that I had accumulated through the MLS and, the We Buy Houses signs and just talking to other investors. I blast this house out to them and I get an offer for about 105, I think. So it could have been, I think after all the closing costs would have been about $15,000 on a wholesale fee that day. So lesson number one, I would tell somebody is, before I even tell you the story, if I could write it out, I would say, where are you in your business? Lesson number one, know where you are in your business. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not the best speller. There we go. Okay. All right. So lesson number one, know where you are in your business. So here we are, we're averaging about a deal every 6 to 8 weeks, and I get this really big deal, and I could make $15,000 the day of, right? Lesson number one, I should have sold this house as a wholesale, and that would have helped me get started on the other deals. I did not, because there was not because, what I chose to do is there was a guy who said, hey man, I see what you're doing. You're hustling out here. Let's partner together on this deal. And I'll be happy to show you the ropes of how to flip houses. And we will split this deal 50-50. That 50-50 profit, if everything went right, would average out to around this time, $61,000. We'll call it $60,000. So we would have split $30,000. At the profit if it's sold at the price. So lesson number one, know where you are in your business, because just because there's an opportunity in front of you doesn't mean it's the best opportunity for you to take at that moment. I should have wholesaled this house. I should not have done what I did, which is partner with him. But that's a lesson. Again, it's part of the lessons. It would have been a failure if I never learned it, but it's a lesson. So we learn from it. So moving forward, we partner with this guy on this house. He funds the deal. He funds the rehab, and we go through the house. This is a 1960 house. It's 2018 that we're trying to sell this house. And so me being a realtor and an investor, I've learned from my mistakes and other people's mistakes. I say, hey, I think we should go ahead and get this house inspected and take a look at the electricity, because this is a 50-year-old plus house. Pretty sure we're going to be doing electrical work. Well, the guy that I partnered with has a GC. He says no need to do that. I do this all the time, man. You're a young fella, pretty much. You've only been around this thing for a few years. I know what I'm doing. I'm not the money on this deal, so I really don't have that much say. So the guy says, go ahead, listen to the general contractor, man. We'll just take a look at it. We'll eyeball it and we'll see. So we do a cosmetics rehab on this. And long story short, like as we were going through this process, I knew this wasn't going to be a good contractor, because you got to make sure you got the right contractor. So lesson number two, I would say, if you flip, man, have a great team around you. Even if you're wholesaling, make sure you have a great team around you. All right. So I'm going to type this in for you guys. Have a great team around you, because any elements that you can't control, you want to try to control as much as you can control. So anyway, so this GC decides to just walk through the house. He eyeballs it, says it's going to be 20 grand for us to fix up the house. Keep in mind, we bought it for 80. So we're putting 20 in. It's worth about 160, 5 at that moment. So kind of shoots down our profit to probably about 25,000 each at this moment. And so we walk through the house and we do the cosmetic, and then we fix the house up, and now we're putting the house on the MLS. And keep in mind, I've waived my wholesale fee for the benefit of making now $25,000 in profit on a flip. Okay. So we get the first buyer, and we do not get an inspection. We do not take a look at the electricity. We're going off the strength of the general contractor. So the first buyer, I think 7 days on the market, we get the house accepted. Obviously, we're all super happy here. So, and they accept, and they want to get the house on the contract at the price that we asked for. So without going into too much detail about that, because this could be an hour-long video, their financing fell through. So we decided to rent the house out to them until they got their financing fixed. We rented it out to them, making about $1,550 a month for about 4 months. 4 months pass, they don't get their financing approved. So we still got holding costs on this thing, but we're making $1,500. So my partner is like, we're okay, man. We'll get the next guy. So they don't get their approval, but they also wanted us to fix some things too, because they got their inspection. So our partner decides to, just go ahead and turn the oven off. So our partner decides to go ahead and say, hey man, we'll rent it out to these guys. We'll fix up a little bit of the work and then we'll move on. So this buyer ends up not being able to buy this house. So they move out, and then we go and put the house back on the market. And around this time, I say, hey man, we should get an inspection or get an electrician to look at the work. so that the second buyer doesn't decide to terminate. Well, my partner did not want to do that. So lesson number 3, I would say, make sure you have clear responsibilities and understanding of your roles with partners, with partners. Okay? In writing, I will say. That's definitely the biggest lesson I can share with you guys. Get it all in writing. So yeah, we don't get the inspection for the second before the second buyer accepts. And fast forward, we go through, guys, being honest, this is my journal, but I'm sharing this with you. We go through 3 other buyers. The second buyer accepts and terminates because of their inspection report. The third buyer accepts and terminates because of their inspection report. The fourth buyer accepts and terminates because of the inspection report. Now, I don't have all the say. I'm not the money in this deal, and I'm pushing to get this electricity looked at. And every time someone would terminate, I'm telling the partners, hey, man, these guys are clearly seeing something that we're not seeing. We need to go get an inspection. I don't trust the general contractor, because even though he made the house look pretty, doesn't mean it's functioning properly. There's got to be something wrong with this. So the partner says, man, I don't want to pay for it. I do this all the time. I decide to go pay for the inspection myself. So I get a guy, and we get the inspection out, come back, and the electrical is shoddy, guys. I mean, it's torn apart. Like, it's literally breaking down, and some of the outlets in the house don't even work. So I bring this report to our partner, and I say, hey, man, this is what the last 4 buyers have seen, because those other buyers, they wouldn't give us the report, and that's not, it's not a big deal. Some people do, some people don't. Luckily, we had one of them, after I paid for the report, end up giving us a report, and their inspection report. So I say, hey, man, look, we're looking at this work. We need to get a GC over here to go ahead and take a look at this house and give us a bid on how much it would be to fix this house, fix this electrical, so that we can actually get the house closed. So finally, we fight back and forth, end up doing that, comes back. We need another $6,000 to get the house bank ready. I like to call it bank ready. You got a house that can be livable, but if you're flipping it, it's got to be bank ready, because the bank is going to be financing. They're going to want an inspection. They want to make sure this house, they're going to be financing the house that's going to be functionable. And foundation, roof, AC, things like that, electrical has to be, it has to pass their inspection in order for them to finance this house, any house. So we go ahead and do that. Long story short, we put the $6,000 in, and here's this hurt as well. We are like 5 months in now. All right. So obviously holding costs is adding up. So our profit is starting to get eaten up. So now we're about $22,000 each we could make if it sells at the price that we had it on the market for. So lesson number 4, man, I would say do an inspection always, or have a GC who knows major repairs to look at. Okay, so that would be lesson number 4. So we get this thing. Now we're at $6,000. We fix the $6,000, and a person comes by and says, hey, man, I can buy this house cash. And I don't even want to say the lessons on that one, because this guy, it was, welcome, the retail world is an emotional process. I'll say that. So we go ahead, and it's looking like it's not going to be a house that's going to be ready to sell and be a bankable house. So I go ahead and say, hey, man, I know we don't have it in writing, but I don't see this house selling at this price anymore. let's go ahead and just pay me what I would have gotten for a wholesale fee. And we agree to, I think 8,500 at that point. So I go ahead and get the 8,500. I'm still acting as the agent on this house, so I'm going to go ahead and try to help sell this house. We do this process again, guys, with a new buyer. Get this house fixed up with 6 grand that we put into it, and there are still things that the emotional buyer didn't like and wanted to come on a reduction of the price, which would have been no profit at all. Talked with the partner. He's like, man, we're not going to make any money. I've put like $130,000 into this house now, and that's holding costs included and all that, lights and things like that. He's like, man, there's nothing we can do here. I'll just pay you out, and I'm going to go ahead and keep it as a rental. This is what the partner is saying. He's going to keep it as a rental. So we ended up keeping it as a rent. He ended up keeping it as a rental. I sold my interest for $8,500. And the thing that hurt me is because I could have sold it the first day for $15,000. I ended up wholesaling it for $8,500 after. And so just comparison, I was like, man, I should have just wholesaled it to another person or to him at the beginning and let them deal with this problem. So lesson number 5, when I say know where you are in your business for lesson number 1, for lesson number 5, I would tell you guys, if you're in a place where you need money, if you need quick cash, okay? If you need quick money, do not start flipping. All right. So QUICK. Yes. If you need money quickly, do not start flipping, because I got over ambitious. Hey, John, how you doing? I got over ambitious, and we should have We should have gone ahead and just wholesale this house, because I knew it was going to be a 3-month process, but I got shiny object syndrome. A lot of investors will not tell you that. I got shiny object syndrome, I'm not going to lie there. And it hurts still to this day to know what I should have done and I didn't do it. But it is a lesson. It's not a failure. Okay. So that's pretty much the $41,000. Those are the 5 lessons. Know where you are in your business. If you need to wholesale and you're trying to get started, please wholesale. Start, because you get those checks without all the risk. I went and put all the risk and all the problems by flipping. Okay. Also, wherever you are in your business, any agent, realtor, broker, flipper, renter, doesn't matter, wholesaler, whatever you are, have a great team around you. And what I ended up doing is I went and picked up a team off of the leverage of the relationship that the guy had, but I didn't have my own team, so I didn't have any control in that. So that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, make sure you have clear responsibilities and understandings of your roles with your partners in writing. Because if we would have this thing in writing, then I could have just gone back to the paperwork and said, no, I'm sorry, look what we said we were going to do here. We didn't do that. That's in writing. We signed off on that. We need to get that inspection. Also, lesson number 4, do an inspection always, or have a GC who knows major repairs to look at. My personal belief is that this guy did not know as much as he said he knew, because if he did, he would have looked at 1960 house. This is 2018 at the time. Yeah, I should probably take a look at the electrical. And then lesson number 5, if you need money quickly, don't start flipping, because that is a long process. You're dealing with banks, inspectors, appraisals, and emotional buyers. So you got too many elements that could easily hurt your interest in the deal making any money because of these other elements. When a wholesale is, hey, I got a house for this much, and I know the house is worth this much, I'll sell it to you. I'm going to sell the contract to you, and you go ahead and take on the risk. So that's what we should have done. All right, guys. All right. So sorry I had to stop for a second. I've got kids here, so you can imagine what my house is like. But just moving on to lesson number 6. Yes, to go back on lesson number 5, if you need money quickly, wholesaling is the best way. It's big profits with way less risk and way less emotion. It's all about the numbers. And lesson number 6, I would tell you guys, never stop marketing. So we were lucky enough to close, I think, during that process, about 2 or 3 deals. I think 2 to be exact. I think we closed 2 deals on that during that process of this particular house that was going to make 41 grand, not closing. But we stopped our marketing. We slowed down for sure. We weren't out in the streets talking to the people and having those appointments as much. So it definitely slowed down. Marketing, growing a business is like a train. When it gets rolling, when the marketing is going and the appointments are being made and negotiations are being out and the offers are being sent, then you get something called momentum, and it kind of just starts coming, and you can kind of predict, if I make this many calls and this many offers by the end of the month, I should get this many deals. Well, we slowed down all of that, the marketing, the calling, the appointments, the offers, and it slowed down. So we only closed 2 deals in the process of this house, from start to finish, being fixed, and going to the last thing I'll tell you on less than 10. So never stop your marketing. All right. Never, ever stop your marketing. So that pretty much wraps up the 41,000. Now the next lesson 7, 8, 9, 10 is going to be from the $251,000 that we lost. And I just want to make sure I'm clear here again, guys. This money did not literally hit my bank and then somebody called and said, give me all that money back. These were potential profits, but they were funded by the buyers already. Accepted, contracts accepted, and everything sent to the title company. We're just waiting on the closing date, and things happen here with the $251,000. So for lesson number 7, let me tell you what I did. I tried to grow too fast. Do not grow too fast. So this $251,000 was strictly wholesale deals. All right. I was trying to use some people who are bird dogs or failed real estate agents, or were attracted to this wholesale side but didn't know what to do. I was using them as my team to go be my street team, to go actually do the appointments with the people and actually go talk to the people. But they didn't have any responsibility to me, guys. All they had to do is just ask me where their neighborhood was. I would go look and see if hold on one second. Yeah, sorry about that. So this team did not have any responsibility to me. I literally went to some people who were pretty bad at getting leads, pretty bad at getting deals, but they were actually, I think I'm saying that wrong. They were good at getting deals. They were pretty bad at getting leads. They couldn't get leads. So I had these leads and I was sending them these leads and saying, hey, man, go into your neighborhood and just go ahead and talk to these addresses that I've targeted and go get these houses on the contract. I'll tell you what company name to put it under. Bring it back to me. I'll handle the rest. And lesson number 7 is don't grow too fast, because I'm still closing 1 deal about every 6 to 8 weeks. And that's not enough for me to go start delegating work. I could handle that. I should only be focusing on just me and the people around me. But I was trying to delegate and bring other people in. What happened is we had great deals and these people were getting houses under contract for good prices. What they were not doing is asking the right questions. So I didn't even spend enough time with these guys to even tell them how to negotiate. What are some of the probing questions that they need to ask? It was literally just numbers to them. They didn't ask any important questions with the sellers. And some of the people were divorced. Some of the people had people that passed away. Some of them had I think encumbrances or like zoning issues on their property that we wouldn't find out until the day we were going to closing. And I was like, I don't know how to fix these things because I haven't talked to the people, and now the people are not talking to the person that I had go get under contract with. So I know nothing. So do not grow too fast. So I had one person have 2 deals, great at getting deals under contract, but he would literally fall off the face of the earth. And whenever I would actually speak to the seller was after they had been disappointed when trying to contact him multiple times. So they say, hey man, I'm not showing up. I don't want to do business with you guys because the guy that I initially met is falling off the face of the earth. And I don't know any information. He's not updating me. And so I want out the deal. And I had these deals funded by a buyer, and I had to go back to the buyer and say, hey man, I'm sorry, I just can't sell the house, man. This guy doesn't want to close. He's not going to show up to the closing. He's not answering his phone. And then the guy that was giving me the contracts, he's not answering. So I didn't know a lot. So I had to just pretty much just cancel and terminate those contracts. So those 2 deals that he had average out to about 100 grand, no, 150 grand. So we had two other deals that would have been great deals, man, and profit about $100,000. And we had the same thing happen with one of those deals where the person fell off the face of the earth because of the person that I delegated the task to. And then the other one was we had a great one. It was a pre-foreclosure. We could have stopped it, but the bank didn't send us the information. I really, really wanted that one. I was personally involved on that one. And so that's going to be lesson number 8. Know the process with every deal. So I like these tax delinquent, these pre-foreclosure type deals. And let me change that. So with this deal, with this pre-foreclosure home that we wanted, we did our part. We did our part on that. We talked with the bank, and we were, I think, about 4 months or 3 months ahead of pre-foreclosure process. But the bank just didn't send us the information, and this was not our fault. This is just part of the bank. So I still want to tell you that lesson number 8: know the process of every deal, because if you know the process, then you know what to do. We knew that the bank was taking this house to the auction. We also knew that they wanted to fill out papers and documents and show his work history and proof that he doesn't have money and all of those things. We had the lawyer involved to push the date back. And all we needed was from, sorry guys, I don't know where I was at. I've got kids and it's loud in here. But I want to get this video out to you guys. So I think I was at, know the process with every deal. Yeah, we had the lawyers involved. We had the seller, we had the house on the contract and everything, and we knew how much it was worth. We were going to get a great deal. And the bank was telling us every day, hey, we're mailing the paperwork to you guys. We're mailing it. And we would call every single day up to the point to where they said, man, we FedExed it and we priority mailed it. We would check in with the seller every day. Hey, did you get that mail piece yet? And they never got it. And then fast forward a month to about 3 days before it goes to closing, we speak with another 3 days before it goes to the auction, we speak with another person at the bank and say, oh yeah, he had a website. The day you guys called us, we put it on the website. And the way I felt like was maybe that was just a tactic for them because they really wanted the house because they saw how much it was worth. But that one hurt because that was about $60,000 that we could have made on that deal as well. And we weren't able to stop the house from the auction. I think by the time they told us that, it was like 3 days out, and say, hey, we got our lawyer involved, we can push this thing. It was like, yeah, man, you got to send this piece of paperwork in. There's nothing you can do. So I would say, no, lesson number 8, know the process of every deal. If I knew more, it still hurts me. I probably could have got that deal. If I just knew more of the process of this pre-foreclosure. What could I have done to get that deal? So yeah, lesson number 7, don't grow too fast. And lesson number 8, know the process with every deal. So lesson number 9, I would say, stay focused on one thing at a time. Guys, we got shiny object syndrome within those 6 weeks. We started doing things with marketing, and we would just test it. We wouldn't stay consistent with it. We had, I think, at one point, 4 different channels of marketing going out. We didn't understand the entire process. We weren't really thinking about the sellers. We were just like, hey, let's just grab this information and send the message out to them marketing once, and let's see if it works. So we weren't consistent. And the one thing that we were doing that was working, we stopped doing that as much because we were trying to get these other things going at the same time, and we should have just focused on one thing. So lesson number 9, stay focused on one thing, because with that marketing, we got the pre-foreclosures by driving for dollars and door knocking, but then we tried to do some Facebook ads, and that took away a lot of time because we were trying to learn it as well as trying to get deals from it. And I think we did maybe we didn't do direct mail. I think we did like some internet ads that we tried to put out that we didn't understand at the same time. So you can clearly see we're testing these things out. We don't even understand it. So it's slowing down our pipeline. So stay focused on one channel of marketing at a time. So stay focused. Let's change that to one marketing channel at a time. And lesson number 10, guys, is going to be the most important because real estate is an up and down process. Markets change. The market changed just on that $41,000 deal that we could have made. So because he ended up renting it out because the market changed, and that could have stopped me, guys. Honestly, I got depressed for a week, and I kind of just went into hiding a little bit and was hurt and was negative and when I was in that energy, other things started. Like I had a meetup that I bring a ton of value to. Decided to start a new one and didn't do any marketing for it, and nobody showed up, and I was negative for that. And I was like, man, almost to the point where I wanted to say forget real estate and just forget everything and really just hide on an island and just try to get myself back together. But what I learned is during that week. I'm going through my emotional process of trying to figure what the heck happened with all these things. I ended up reading a ton of books, being around some mentors, calling some friends around, and mainly mentors, and just say, hey man, I've never gone through this where I've lost money in real estate and I don't know what to do. And they say, hey man, welcome to real estate. It happens to everyone. One of the wisest things that I heard is every business will take losses. And you can never predict what day that loss is going to be, but you have to be prepared every year that you're going to take a loss. And one of my mentors gave me the Walmart, uh, Sam Walmart, the guy who built Walmart. He's like, do you ever think that somebody ever steals anything out of Walmart or something gets broken, some inventory gets broken in Walmart? And I was saying yes. And he was like, well, why do you think they're still $1 billion company? Is it because they focus on the things that broke or the things that lost? It's like, no, they actually look at it, they learn from it, and they expect losses to come, but they just continue to push forward and continue to market it and bring value to people. And that's why they're such $1 billion company, is because they focus on things to make them grow, and they try to do their best to learn and lower their chances of losing things and breaking things. But they already understand that's going to happen every year. Things are going to happen that you just can't control. So lesson number 10, man, is just have a don't give up type mentality. Because I mean that this thing really hurt me, guys. I was upset. I mean, you could just imagine how upset someone would be if they see the potential of $291,000 in a deal and they can't get that money sent to the bank. So I'm sharing this, guys, with you because I'm on my road to being a millionaire, and I want to document this journey. So even for myself, I can go back and look and say, man, I remember when I was there, and look what I was saying at that moment. I want to share this with you guys to say, hey, investing, real estate, business, whatever you guys are doing, it's going to have its ups and it's going to have its downs. And you don't want to get too high whenever it's good, and you don't want to get too low when it's bad. You know, you kind of want to be stoic and stay in the middle and just know, hey, these wins and these losses is just a part of the process, and I'm just going to keep learning from them, and we're just going to keep getting better. The beautiful thing about $291,000 opportunities that I've learned from is that I've got so much to learn from, that these will never ever happen again. So because of these 10 lessons that I'm giving you guys, that I'm really giving them to myself, because I had to start doing some of these things over again, right? We had to stay back small. We had to, some of those bird dogs and agents, we're not around those people anymore. That marketing, we funneled that back into just one channel. We got our systems better. We got our processes right. We got things in writing again. We're only focusing on the leads that bring the best revenue to us, but only the marketing. I think one channel that we've got now, we're starting back small, like as if we had no money in the game at all. What will we do? and we still got that hustle mentality, and we got lackadaisical, we got comfortable, because we had all these other deals coming in, and then other opportunities. Like, man, if one falls, the next one will come, and we got lazy and comfortable. So because of these lessons, I'll never do that again, and I'm right back in it. Like, this is my first day ever, right? I guess a little bonus tip I would tell you guys is books are so important to me, because books to me are like mentors who are my best friends forever, and they'll always tell me the same thing every time I'm going through that experience. I look at them like personal advisors. I read books about mindset all the time, and you can bet your bottom dollar I'm reading those books as I'm losing this money weekly. Especially right now, I'm all consumed with these books because I never want this to happen again. So I want to tell you guys, a failure is an experience that you never learned from, but a lesson is an experience that you do learn from, and you make sure it never happens again. So we definitely have a $291,000 lesson that we learned on this thing, and it won't happen again. It had a much as well, it had enough impact on me for me to really reflect and analyze what could I have avoided here, instead of pointing the finger. That contractor, it's not his fault. That colleague, it's not their fault. The bird dogs, it's not their fault. This was all on me. This was completely on me. I should have done things differently and set expectations, but also been focused and not had shiny object syndrome, and I would have avoided all of those. So I just wanted to share this video with you guys. If you're still watching, thank you. Remember to go to my YouTube, Freedom Johnson. Go to our Instagram. We're going to get back to posting way more real estate things, and just appointments and the contracts and the things that we use to make our business grow, and just documenting the journey with us. So go to our Instagram at Freedom Johnson with the number 2 at the end. Go to our Facebook fan page. I think it's FP for fan page, and then Freedom Johnson. Check those things out, guys. We want to share this document and document this process with you guys. But I appreciate you for even tuning in. Hope you learn from these lessons. And if these things have happened to you, then you can relate. And if these things have not happened to you, use my experience so that it doesn't happen to you. You guys have a great day. Peace.